neutral Sweden together with my family. Today, we are celebrating the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz camp. This Nazi concentration camp symbolizes the unprecedented cruelty in the treatment of people throughout history. This is a place where the techniques of mass and industrial murder were first introduced. It grieves me deeply to see in many European countries, but also in Poland, Nazi-style uniforms and slogans openly paraded at marches. It grieves me to see that this is happening without any consequences. These people self-proclaim themselves as national champions, but at the same time, they proclaim the hateful ideology of German Nazis. This is the ideology that murdered millions who were considered subhuman under the sign of the swastika. So this ideology, an attitude that preaches hostility and hatred towards others, this defines racism, anti-Semitism, and homophobia as virtues. And this is occurring here in our country, which has suffered so much, which has endured extensive damage under the Nazi occupation. I urge all people of goodwill, and especially I ask of the young people, be sensitive to all expressions of intolerance and resentment towards those who are different, regardless of their skin color, religion, or sexual orientation. In today's digital world, it is so incredibly challenging to distinguish between genuine intention and the pursuit of popularity, the need to exist that stems from a conscious and persistent agenda. I repeat, therefore, be attentive and be vigilant. We, the survivors, we understand that the consequence of being considered different is active persecution, the effects of which we have personally experienced. And we did experience it very hard. So let us be very serious and let's take seriously what the enemies of democracy preach. They generally seek to implement the slogans they promote. If they succeed in gaining power, we must avoid the mistake of the 1930s, when the world failed to take seriously the Nazi regimes and the plans to create a state free of Jews, Roma, and people of different opinions, or sick, or those deemed unfit to live, were underestimated. Therefore, I implore everybody to intensify their efforts in countering the views that led to the genocide we are commemorating today. Modern understanding of our heritage and our DNA confirms that there is but only one race of humans, Homo sapiens. Therefore, the theory of racism, which is a fundamental principle of Nazi ideology, is false and incompatible with reality. Let me assure you, as a doctor, as a gynecologist, when I perform operations, whatever the patient's skin, the tissues beneath are identical in every person. Astronomers tell us that There are trillions of solar systems and galaxies, and that are similar to ours. Our planet is merely a speck in the vast cosmos. Isn't it absurd to divide the inhabitants of the speck into thousands of disparate groups that are often and sadly hostile to each other? Every year, there are lengthy discussions taking place in parliaments regarding budget cuts. Significant amounts are, however, allocated to armaments. In contrast, the peaceful coexistence of nations could be achieved without any financial cost. Just think about the positive impact this expenditure could create. I wish to express my gratitude and appreciation to the management and all the staff of the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum for their tireless efforts in preserving the memory of the victims of the Nazi ideology and for combating prejudice and hostility toward others. Well, allowing the memory of millions of innocent victims to fade would be equivalent to robbing them of their lives for a second time. The commemoration of the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz serves as a reminder of the inhumane treatment of individuals, but also it is a warning against the increasingly vocal movements of the radical and anti-democratic right. I kindly ask everyone now to stand and observe with a moment of silence the memory of the victims of the degenerate German nationalism.
Dziękuję.
Thank you.